The next generation of wealth isn't inherited, it's created. From the studios of Canela Media, this is Let's Make Millions, where ideas turn into empires, and ordinary people build extraordinary lives. On today's episode, we're diving into the story of a true visionary, Tony Cuccio.
But I always remember saying my father taught me, if you're not swinging for the fence, you can't hit the home run.
From selling products out of a suitcase to building a world-renowned brand, Tony's journey is proof that passion, perseverance, and purpose can turn any dream into reality.
And as you get older, you realize you're only one person. You have to have great people around you and good people to help you.
Let's Make Millions, where dreamers become doers.
I like the title.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's Make Millions.
I like that idea.
Watch the full episode now.
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown. And you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. So good, so fresh.
Welcome to Let's Make Millions. I'm CEO of Canela Media, Rob Medved.
And I'm Bill Raymond, EVP Managing Partner.
And today we are honored to be in the presence of greatness, the inventor of gel nails, Tony Cuccio. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you.
Tony, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here.
I like the title.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
Make Millions.
Let's Make
We're going to let
Millions.
you throw us out of here.
I
with
like that idea.
You've got gel nails on. Is
I
that
got
a
gel
signature
nails.
of you?
Yeah, I always try to be different. So years ago, I started wearing one toenail black.
Yeah.
Only one.
Only one on each foot.
And you wear the slides everywhere?
Yeah, I wear slides to meetings. I wear black every day for the last 40 years. You know why?
It makes
Why?
it easy.
It's one less decision I have to make every day.
I like it. So let's roll this back all the way to when you invented gel nails. You're from the East Coast, I can tell. Somehow you made it to California. When did that all happen?
Let me clarify that for the audience and everybody else. There's a lot of people who say they invented them in the 50s. To be real honest and truth is I made them famous in 90 countries. There was always gel nails around,
Yeah.
but they were never really used. It was never marketed correctly. So in 81, I started selling on Venice Beach. I was the first person ever to sell on Venice Beach.
Was it your idea to sell there, or did you just kind of land there?
Actually, I was walking on Venice Beach. We moved to Venice Beach. We had a 2-bedroom studio, me and my brother. And the first Saturday I woke up and I saw thousands of people roller skating walking by. And I said to my brother, there's more traffic here than Fifth Avenue. We should sell something. And we rented the first 5 square feet for $50. The lot is still there. I wish I would have bought the lot. But of course, I didn't have the money then.
Was it $50 for like a day, a week?
$50 a day.
$50 a
$50
day.
And you were out there, and what were you selling, nail polish?
It's actually a funny story. My wife and I have been together for 58 years. We met in 7th grade. And when I got married at 25, I was working as a neonatal respiratory therapist, making $3,000 a month. And our first American Express bill was $18,000. And I asked her what it was for, and she said, well, my father pays. I said, yeah, but you married me. She said, well, you can't afford me. I said, you shouldn't have married me. So a guy owed me $200 from a card game, and he couldn't pay me, so I took lipstick, nail polish, and eyeshadow. And I said to my brother, let's set up a table and let me get my $200 back.
Yeah.
And that's how we started.
That's how it started.
1981.
When did the inspiration for actual gel nails come in, and when did it take off? How long were you on Venice, and then where to go from there?
Venice, we would go to Westwood Boulevard at night, and the ironic part is we were the first people of private label. And in 1981, the nail business started in the world. It went from Lee nails to artificial nails. And they were using a lot of acrylic at the time. My teeth or implants, at that time I had caps, and they used gel. And I figured if it stays in your mouth, it'll stay on your fingers. And that was really the inspiration. I mean, there was gels around, but nobody did, fiber gel. Nobody did special gels.
Prior to doing the nails, do you ever think about having your own company? Like, were you selling any other items back home before, or you kind of just fell into it?
It was my third business. My first 2 failed. But I always remember saying my father taught me, Babe Ruth led the league in home runs and strikeouts in the same year. If you're not swinging for the fence, you can't hit the home run.
We strongly believe in that. We are constantly always swinging at the fences, and we have clients that come in here, test, fail, test, winner.
Yeah, you got to grind it out every day. So you think if you hadn't made it in the nail business, you would have been successful at something?
You know, I had a lot of confidence in myself because from my parents. And when I made Inc. magazine in 1987, they asked me, how did your parents, what's the reason for your success? And they said, was your father in business? I said, no, my father was a plumber for the transit authority. He would clean when the toilets got stuffed.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how did they inspire you? I said, if your parents give you so much love and they wrap it around you, you have the greatest thing in the world. You have confidence. So I never even thought about failure. I never did in my life.
And never look back.
I never, you got to find a way.
Yeah.
So you find a way.
And you've been doing this for decades now.
44 years. I'm 71. I went to work today at 5 o'clock. I work every day from 5 until 1.
Yeah.
I've been to 90 countries. And look, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Sounds like Frank Canella.
It sure does. What do you do with your free time?
Free time. I haven't had a vacation in 25 years. My idea of a vacation is going to Brazil and have 3,000 women pay $100 to hear me speak.
Yeah.
And hire 500 educators. I've been really good with cutting my brain off at 1:30 every day. So my life is one big routine. Yeah. I get up at 4. I spend probably an hour on TikTok. I love TikTok. I think it's one of the greatest platforms in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I go to work. I deal with China because 16 hours ahead. Okay, and then I go to Europe. And I work my way up to my business until 9. I go home every day at 1 o'clock. My mother, when she was alive, my daughters, nobody can call me after 1 o'clock unless somebody dies.
Yeah.
So, I've really learned to cut my brain off at 1 o'clock.
Have you always done it that way?
I've done that probably since I was in my late 20s because I was working 12, 15 hours a day and I was getting bleeding ulcers. Yeah. And the doctor said to me, you can't do this, you got to shut it off. So I separate, the day. I'll cook. My wife's never cooked in 48 years of marriage. I do all the cooking. And I have my own routine. Every night at 7:30, I do a bath yoga. I put on my bath, the hottest it can go, put my air conditioner in 58, and I put the washcloth over my face and don't think of anything but going to sleep. And by 8:15, no matter what, 8:20, I'm sleeping until 4 o'clock.
So thinking back of when you started the brand, how fast did it scale?
Every year we grew for the first 40 years, okay? And we only grew a little. Sometimes we grew a lot. There's a book called The Peter Principle by Tom Peters. Yeah. Probably one of the greatest books. I read it 10 times. And the one thing it always taught me, that everybody reaches their level of incompetence, no matter what you do or what profession you're in. Once you reach that, you have to learn and go around it. So, I was listening to Frank when he was at his party and he was saying having great people. Yeah. I think that was one of my biggest mistakes in the beginning. I thought it was me. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was us. And as you get older, you realize you're only one person. You have to have great people around you and good people to help you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think when I look back at where I started and where I am today, I think the biggest lesson is learning to stay in your lane. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. And I think when you're younger, you try and be everything to be, so confident. But I think the more that someone can stay in their lane and get the people around you that can support you, the better you are.
Yeah. And then what Frank said is important. I have over 30 people who've been with me over 40 years.
That's a lot.
And, if you can keep people and you make them happy, then you can make a win-win situation.
Couldn't agree with you more. Every year we have a saying or a mantra, so to speak, that we get behind. And last year it was educate, delegate, and trust. So educate people to do the things that you know how to do. let them do and learn what you don't know how to do, and then just trust them to do it. And trusting them to do it, I think, is the hardest part as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, because you have to give up the control.
Yeah, that's tough. So your name's on the brand. When did you decide to put your name on the
It was
brand?
actually a great story. The name of my company is Star Nail, Stephen, Tony, and Roberta. And in 1999, I was stuck at about 15 million. And one of my friends knew a guy named Mark. I won't use his last name, but he was a consultant for Nike. And he wanted $200,000 a month to consult. And I remember telling my friend, I don't pay anybody $200,000 a month, or what they'd have to do for that. It's kind of a joke, okay? And he was out here for him. He hired him, and I took him to Carmine's for dinner. And I kept drilling him. And he knew I was trying to get information after the first hour, and he finally looked at me, and he said, Mr. Cuccio, what do you want to know? And I said, listen, I'm stuck at 15 million. I'm number 3 in the industry. I want to be number 1, but I don't know how. He said, well, what's your brand? I said, I'm private label. I'm black and white. Been doing it for 20 years, made 50, 75 million. He said, well, let me teach you something. If RC Cola tried to be Coca-Cola, they would never be. Why? I said, because that's the cheap off-brand.
Yeah.
He said, so are you. Why don't you create another brand and raise the perceived value? And that's the day I started Cuccio.
Yeah.
And used my name. So really it was positioning, and he was brilliant because the way he explained it to me was so simple. If you keep hitting the objection that you have no perceived value and you're the cheap brand, then start a new brand and start all over.
Yeah.
And that's when we went into body care and not only nails.
Wow.
And through in the beginning, what type of advertising were you doing, and how did that change through the years?
Well, I could tell you my greatest advertising mistakes. I started a magazine called Nails Magazine in 1984. In 1989, we sold it for $2.1 million. I had 25% of it, but I didn't realize the next 20 years I was going to spend $2 million advertising.
Yeah.
And George Schaefer, one of my competitors, taught me the greatest lesson in the world. While I was spending 20 grand a month, he was spending 200. The difference is I was putting my face on the cover of the magazine, and he was advertising in Vogue and Cosmo. Yeah. He sold his company for $1 billion 12 years ago. I still go to work at 5.
But you're still doing okay.
Yeah.
Well, everything's relative. You know, if you love what you do, I love the beauty business because I love money and women.
But you've done hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues over the last decades, and you're a big personality. So you're kind of the face and the name. I mean, I've seen you on TMZ, been on the School of Hard Knocks. How many views did you get on that?
57 million.
57 million
with all
people
3
saw it.
platforms.
With all 3 of them, yeah.
It was amazing. It's given me global exposure. I had to take my name and my number off the internet.
Yeah.
You know, you get good and bad like anything else. But listen, TikTok is one of the greatest platforms in the world. And I'll teach you this, the business. Jeff Bezos said a year ago on CNBC that Amazon will be bankrupt in 25 years.
Yeah.
And his reason was some kid who's going to be born tomorrow is going to disrupt his business. And I felt like yelling, saying, he's already 42 years old. He started TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is, you guys are in the media business. It's probably one of the greatest platforms in the world.
It's unbelievable. It's disrupted our business. You know, when I started, we were broadcast stations. That's it. Turning the dial when we were kids. Then we became cable networks, thousands of cable networks. Now you can stream anything you want anywhere on every platform. I don't even know what I subscribe to anymore. You got TikTok, you got Instagram. Can't keep up with it. And it's amazing. It seems like the disruption is accelerating. You know, it seemed like Amazon came in and it took them a decade.
Right.
But now we have Google, and Google is the search king, and it was the discovery king.
And now you have chat.
And now you have chat. And I never thought, if somebody asked me, how is Google going to be disrupted? I said, there's no way. It'll never be disrupted. Well, but it's so simple, and yet here we are.
TikTok is just exponential when you really realize what the Chinese are doing. Okay, if you have Netflix, they got to buy content. When you look at, I met one of the board of directors of ByteDance. They wanted me to invest. Unfortunately, I didn't know geopolitical reasons what Trump would do.
Yeah.
And I think the minimum investment was $50 million for 1/1000th or millionth of the company. So it's an incredible. And when you look at how they're disrupting it, they're buying the content of the world
For free.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
But here's why they're so smart. I don't know if you know this. There are 500 Chinese 24 hours a day with 50 Apple phones
Yeah.
monitoring the content. You could have 1 million views talking about how to get a sugar daddy. The minute you go on TikTok live, they cut you off your content. Because all they want is the TikTok sales. Mm-hmm. Because what they have over Amazon is Amazon built too much. They have infrastructure. My building went from $100 a square foot in the last 3 years to $400 a square foot. Okay, because Amazon moved in. But Amazon's got infrastructure. Amazon can sit on products, billions of dollars products that don't sell.
Yeah.
TikTok has no infrastructure and they have no products. Mm-hmm. They just have revenue streams. Yeah. So like you said, it's like having home shopping for free.
It's instant scale.
Instant.
I mean, I think about must-see TV, Thursday night, appointment TV. Everybody would tune in and 30, 40 million people would watch Friends or what have you. Now you can have a TikTok go viral in the morning and everybody in this office and 50 million people around the country have seen Tony Cuccio getting out of his Rolls on Rodeo Drive, right? You know, it's amazing.
But it's even more than that because TikTok Live is interactive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could talk to people. So, you know, when they created Facebook, his rationalization, which is all psychology, is everybody in high school wanted to be liked and everybody wanted friends. I mean, we all look at it now, but it's really simple. But you have to text somebody or you can't talk to them. On TikTok Live, you say, "Hey, Tony, how are you? I haven't seen you for 2 weeks." Now it's really personal because it's interactive.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing what they're doing. They're buying the content of the world. Think about this.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Booty Bridge. If you've got 10 minutes, you've got time to shape your glutes at home. Meet Booty Bridge, the simple, compact device designed to shape and lift your booty without a trip to the gym. Go to bootybridge.com and mention Let's Make Millions for a 10% discount. Transform your body today. Before we get back to our conversation, we want to tell you about our sponsor, Pilates Pro Chair, the most successful home Pilates workout on the market. Visit pilatesprochair.com. Mention Let's Make Millions and get a 10% discount today.
You have to.
Let's keep going with Tony Cuccio and the story behind building a global brand.
On TikTok Live, you say, "Hey, Tony, how are you? I haven't seen you for 2 weeks." Now it's really personal because it's interactive.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing what they're doing. They're buying the content of the world. Think about this.
They have such a strong algorithm that finds people that are going to like you. And it's all about personalities, right? And about niches. So if you are a surfer and they'll find those people for you. And it's all about the founder story that comes off and people want that. And so when you look at it today, I believe that influence aren't dead, but it is changing. People want to know who's behind the brand, who's telling the story,
and why.
Yeah, and instead of just paying someone to say, "Oh, I drink this."
That's interesting you said about the algorithm. 1987, every 10 years I'd go back to Inc. magazine, and when Google started, I met Sergey, and he wanted me to invest $5,000 in Google to enhance the search engine. I didn't know what a search engine was and the algorithms, and I said to him, "Kids, I'm from Brooklyn. I could beat anything." He said, "Well, you can't beat Google." I said, "I'll tell you what. I bet you $100 in 1 year I have the first 30 pages of Google, and I never pay you a nickel." You know how I did it? I printed up 1 million business cards that say Google Tony Cuccio and handed them out at every beauty show in the world.
Yeah.
I still got the first 20 pages of Google, never paid him a nickel. I wish he would have told me to buy the stock.
What are your channels of distribution? Do you, back to Bill's point about advertising, we're in marketing and advertising, and for us, our channels of distribution are social media and through television, we're telling a story. But you have what now is a highly commoditized hard goods product.
Right.
A big part of your underpinning is probably that you have this international distribution. How do you get the product out there? How do you move product?
Well, it's interesting. The first show I went to was 1988 in Dusseldorf. A booth was $50,000. I couldn't afford it. So I called up the owner, Peter, and I said, I'd like to buy 10 VIP tickets. He said, well, you get them free when you take a booth. I can't say I can't afford the booth. I said, nah, I'm Sicilian. I want to pay. And at that time, I don't even know if there was no faxes or they were just starting with fax, telefax, I think it was at the time. And I invited from 10 countries in Europe 2 people. And I had them come. It was the first time I think I took a suite in my life, and I interviewed them. And the one I liked the most, I gave the tickets for the VIP room. And I made 10 contracts up for 10 countries. And I remember when I got home, my wife said, how do you know they're going to be any good? I said, don't be a schmuck. There's one paragraph in there for performance. So I just got 10 distributors in 10 countries. I got $10,000 from each. We got product distribution. And if they don't do the minimums, we cut them off. I still have 9 of those 10.
Wow.
From 1988.
So do you spend a lot of time traveling overseas?
I've been in 90 countries, but what I did is actually very interesting, and I don't even think I realized when I did it. If I go to China, if I go to Africa, it's very simple what I'm doing. I spend 2 days because I finance my distributors. So I have to teach them how to manage their money. I have to teach them how to grow their business. The next 2 days I spend with their distributors because those are the ones selling it.
Yeah.
Then the last day is the most important one. Anybody can talk, and anybody can say this is great, my products are great, or I'm great. But when you get 3,000 nail techs that pay $100 to hear me speak, and they see me selling them, that's where the formula all works together.
They get motivated.
Yeah, because they see you're not just full of baloney.
Yeah.
The person who's doing the nails loves what you're saying. So it's been just a routine of mine.
And is the majority of your business with salons, or is a large portion of that also direct to consumer where someone can do it at home?
I used to sell salons. Then I obviously went to distributors, and then I went to global exclusives. Our fastest growing is Amazon right now. Amazon disrupted every brand in the world. I mean, you can order a mascara and get it by 5 o'clock the same day. Yeah. So, this Amazon, my wife makes me laugh all the time, where I always joke that every day the Amazon guy comes with 2 or 3 boxes. And she said, what's wrong with you? Why should I buy the dog pads? And why should I buy paper towels and go park and waste the time when they deliver for me for free? Yeah. So last week I said to you, the Amazon guy came to the door. He had no boxes. He wanted to know if you were okay. She said, why? Well, you haven't been here in 2 days.
Has brick and mortar ever been part of your distribution? Big box, Target, Walmart?
It's an interesting question. In the first 40 years, we weren't allowed to sell to retail. The professional beauty business was like a multi-level business. Just to give you a quick education, Paula Kent, who started Redken, she was a B actress on 77 Sunset Strip. You guys aren't old enough to remember that. And she used to be an Avon lady. And when I met her 44 years ago, I said, how did you start this professional-only business? She said, when women's liberation came, women started working. So ding dong, Avon's calling, they weren't home. Yeah. So one day she said, there's a salon on every block. So she started distributing only to salons, and it's our own multi-level. So we'd never let Mary Kay, Amway, or anybody, because we didn't want to break our distribution.
Yeah. That's brilliant. How has that business changed over the years, both from, I guess just stick with the technology. I mean, it's still gel nails, but have you made big advancements, and is there anything coming up that?
Well, let us put it this way. During COVID, everything changed. I was lucky enough to get PPP money, employment development, and my business doubled. And everybody laughed at me, but my wife paid $600 for a haircut and color. I remember she was at the kitchen table doing her own hair color. And I laughed. And I said, this is going to make my biggest customer, Sally Beauty Supply, go through the roof. Yeah. So while everybody was hurting, I went from 35 to 70 million in sales at Sally's because everybody had to DIY. Yeah. And then the fallout from all of that is, look, TikTok, Facebook, influencers. Everybody buys from them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you look at Estee Lauder, they're losing all that clientele. Yeah. The new people are going with what people tell them is great and why. So now, you know, you go on Amazon, I have a cuticle oil called Cuccio Cuticle Oil, Milk and Honey. We went during COVID from 20,000 comments to 132,000. Yeah. On a cuticle oil, the sales went from 500,000 to 8 million because women's cuticles were drying from the sanitizer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So again, when you look at, you know, they say everything is changing, and you said it before, quickly. Yeah. Today is the greatest example in the world.
What you see is all of the starter brands that are going direct to consumer. You take like Harry's Razors, whatever it may be, where they own the customer. They know who they are. They can cross-market. They can upsell. They can line extension into them. And then you look at, and everybody's their customer. Millions of individuals that they are collecting data on a daily basis. And then you look at somebody like Sheck, and they have a handful of customers. They got Walmart, they got Target, they got the big box guys. They're at their mercy. So they're buying up these starter brands, billion-dollar exits. You're seeing it in the drinkable market. You're seeing it in the hard goods product market, and it's happening overnight for a lot of these guys. They're scaling businesses online to millions of customers and doing $100 million exit in a year.
You asked me how the business changed. It used to be if you were on Amazon, nobody wanted your product. Now you have to be on Amazon for them to take it. The whole role reversed. Yeah. Because these big box stores will be dead because they don't get the footprint anymore that they used to, and everybody's buying everything direct. So now it's funny. They want all my cuticle oil. We just put cuticle on Target. First time we sold Target in our life. Yeah. Because they saw what it did on Amazon. So the whole role is reversed.
Yeah, it's driving retail now.
Driving retail.
Because people are going, one of the first things that we advise marketers getting into the business is when you go on Amazon, the most important thing you can do is protect that customer review and rating. We call it the rating and review moat. You need thousands of reviews, and they should be 4.2, 4.3, 4.5 or better. If you're not, you're going to lose the box. You're going to lose the consumer. They're going to go there, whether they buy it there or not. They're going to research you there first. So do whatever you can to make sure that that customer is happy, protected at all costs. I was just telling Bill, I read an article, I think it was in the New York Times the other day, about Ritz-Carlton when the CEO came in and refreshed a dying brand back in, I think it was the 80s. And he went to everybody in the whole company, and he gave them an open check for $2,000 to treat customers, if they thought they were having to make it right for them. No questions asked. The board was disruptive, the stock got hurt, but it worked like magic. Nobody abused it, everybody felt empowered, and the individuals went out there within the company and made it right for the consumer, elevated the brand. So protecting that consumer experience is
He disrupted the way they did normal business.
Yeah. He got around the ceiling you were talking about earlier.
No, it's nuts too, is that you look back, 10 years ago, we've been in direct-to-consumer our whole lives, and we were kind of looked at as like the stepchild, like the bottom feeders. Like, oh my God, you guys are direct-to-consumer. Right. You're not a brand.
Yell and sell.
Yeah, like who are you? Now everyone does it, and while the mediums change, the way people consume video changes, it's still those same direct-to-response principles that make someone either pick up the phone or go online. But I just laugh about it because for the longest time we were like, oh my God, you do what? And now I'm like, what?
You guys have a chance to disrupt every talent agency in the world. And the idea is very, very simple. Okay, everybody's an influencer. Okay? But what they haven't tied is the logistics of all the products with all the influences. So these talent agencies are going to be dead in 3 years because the old model doesn't work. I'll give you, for instance, Cardi B was doing a influencer for Fashion Nova 5 years ago. And my idea was to give them 30% of the retail sales and do it through a 3PL.
Yeah.
But their agency wanted $5 million up front. Mm-hmm. And I said, you're old school. You're both cheap whores.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and they didn't understand. I said, are you crazy? You can have 30% of the retail. Well, a year later, I saw them. She did $450 million.
Yeah.
She would have made $120 million instead of her lousy, cheap whore of $5 million.
Yeah.
So your guys' model and what you did 10 years ago, if you just disrupt these agencies now, you can get 1,000 manufacturers and get a piece of their sales.
Yeah,
because you have the media.
Match them with the channel.
Just match them with the channel.
Yeah, because every influencer we were talking about this the other day, they are their own channel now.
But it's only an app. Let me just explain that to you.
Yeah.
Okay? We do co-branding. I do $30 million a year with L'Oreal was my first idea. Okay? All you have to do is take any widget, any product, ship over 5,000 pieces in your box. I'm going to make 5,000 screens, okay, 5,000 shrink wraps. That influencer sells it, we shrink it. No name on the product.
Yeah.
Now there's no loss and there's no investment for any product.
No.
Yeah.
So you could have 1,000.
Yeah, and they don't have to touch any of the
And they don't
infrastructure.
touch
It's all
anything. The
drop shipped
3PL
out of the
does
3PL. We
everything.
handle all the customer service.
This episode is sponsored by Booty Bridge. If you've got 10 minutes, you've got time to shape your glutes at home. Meet Booty Bridge, the simple, compact device designed to shape and lift your booty without a trip to the gym. Go to bootybridge.com and mention Let's Make Millions for a 10% discount. Transform your body today. Before we get back to our conversation, we want to tell you about our sponsor, Pilates Pro Chair, the most successful home Pilates workout on the market. Visit PilatesProChair.com. Mention Let's Make Millions and get a 10% discount today. Let's keep going with Tony Cuccio and the story behind building a global brand.
So you're selling more than just nail polish now. You have tons of different SKUs, and you also have a product that you're thinking about for direct to consumer. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Listen, one of the greatest untapped markets in the world is natural nails. And when you look at the artificial nail business, believe it or not, only 10 to 15% of women want artificial nails. Okay, look, there's nothing in the beauty business that's good for you. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say. You put on eyeshadow, it has dye in it. Okay, there's no beauty products that are great. But the product that I invented, and I've been holding it because I'm perfecting it, is red light therapy to make your nails grow. But it's actually a very, very funny story. We have a product that we've been working on. It's called Build-A-Gel. And I've been testing it. It's on my toes right now. I've been testing it for 2 years. And it came from me capping my teeth. Mm-hmm. Because women's nails will grow. Even when you dye, your nails and your hair will grow. The only time you can make your nails grow faster is if you go in the hospital and they give you an IV. And they give you all the nutriments and all the vitamins. And then your nails will grow. So we came up with a substrate. It's like a gel, but it's different. And you put it over your natural nail, and then twice a week you put it under red light therapy. And you use my cuticle oil to stimulate. So I'm going to tell you how great it works. Okay? My wife called me up 2 weeks ago. She goes to Venice to get her haircut. And she called me up hysterical. I said, are you okay? Did you have an accident? She said, I've been using that red light. And I've been using the Build-A-Gel, and I can't get the credit card out of the meter. My nails are too long. She's never had long nails in her life. She couldn't get the credit. I said, go in and ask one of the hairdressers to take the damn credit card out. So the product that you're talking about will be the first natural nail strengthener, okay, that will use red light therapy and you'll actually see the difference within 2 to 3 weeks, and you can grow them as long as you want.
If someone's going to start a brand today, what's some advice that you would give them?
The best advice I can give anybody when you're starting a brand is to realize you're your brand. Products are all products. They're all widgets. Look, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the pet rock.
Yep.
Okay? Think about that a minute, the pet rock. Everybody laughs today. If you tell a 22-year-old kid that somebody paid $10 for a rock and it was a pet, they would laugh at you. So the best advice in the world, and I'll answer that with a story. My son-in-law got married. My daughter's a gynecologist. My son-in-law wasn't working. And I said to him, kid, what are you going to do? He said, I think I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad. I said, well, there's only one problem. You got no kids. I wanted to choke him. And I said, Eric, what do you love? He said, I love dogs. So I said, don't kid around with me. He said, I love dogs. I said, tomorrow morning you're going into the dog pet spa business. I gave him my pens that are water-based. Most polish has nitrocellulose. Martha Stewart picked it up. He did $2 million his first year. All his products are for humans, and the tagline that I gave him is tested on humans.
Yeah, that's great.
And, how do you do the products? You have to see social changes. Look at the social change with dogs. I'll give you the greatest example in the world. My grandmother and grandfather had a dog. It stayed in a dog house in Queens 60 years ago. They slept in there on a chain. My parents had a dog, and it stayed down the basement. You could play during the day, but they slept. Now I got 2 French bulldogs. They sleep between my wife's legs.
And half those Amazon boxes are for them, probably.
Right, but think about the social change. It's part of your family now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, my daughter has 5 dogs.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's the trends. You got to get them early. I walked into Starbucks the other day, and now they have a protein.
I just saw that.
I'm like, because protein's become so hot. It's in everything. How many grams of protein? And so if you get in early, or if you apply it to a different audience or a different segment, you're right.
Well, you have to see the social change. I had 4 employees 15 years ago come to me for $3,000 loans for dog operations. Okay, when I put my son-in-law in, the last girl borrowed $9,000, and I went to the vet. And I said, how come every dog operation is $3,000? He said, you idiots, the threshold where they put them to sleep. There is no threshold now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you love that dog, you're going to pay $5-10 grand. When you start a company, to answer your question, pick what you love, an industry you love.
Yeah.
If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Look to make something different. I've been wearing sunglasses and no socks for 45 years, and I remember in the beginning they used to say, that's the idiot with the sunglasses and no socks. So if you separate yourself and you make the products different or yourself different, then you can market you and your products.
Yeah. Well said, my
That's
friend.
great advice.
Said.
Well, you've been doing it for a long time. It sounds like you've never worked a day in your life.
I've
You've
never
generated billions of dollars in sales. Creator of gel nails, Tony Cuccio. Thank you for coming by. We look forward to working with you. And great advice, awesome stories. Throw us out with a Let's Make Millions.
Let's make millions and billions.
Yeah.
Phew!